This is the brand new Google Pixel 9a. They call this a budget phone from Google, but is that really an appropriate title? And is it worth the $500 you're going to pay for it? Tech it before you wreck it. What's up, geeks? I'm Kirk. I've got the brand new Google Pixel 9a here in my hands. And as I mentioned, they call this a budget smartphone, but I'm not quite sure that is an appropriate title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox this and show you what comes inside the box with the Google Pixel 9a. And then if you stick around to the B side, I'm going to break down my thoughts on the 9a, how it compares spec for spec to the Google Pixel 9, the full-blown Google Pixel, and more importantly, why I don't think it should be called a budget model. Well, what should you call it? I'll break that down. So that's coming up in the B side. First though, let's get this thing over to the table and get the Google Pixel 9a unboxed. There it is, guys, the brand new Google Pixel 9a in the box. And you can see I've got the black model here. Looks good in this little slim box. It says Google Pixel 9a on the side. Same box design that we've seen with the other Google Pixel 9 phones. On the back, we've got the 6.3-inch screen, 128 gig model in the color Obsidian, which is, of course, the black color. We've got the pull tabs on the back. And there you go. There is your Pixel 9a phone in the box. It's got some kind of clearish paper on the outside protecting it. I'll set that to the side. Let's see what else is in here. We've got a pretty basic USB-C to USB-C charging cable. No Google branding, very generic cable, but it should do the job. Here is some instructions in an instruction sleeve, if you will. Okay, let's open this puppy up. We've got this paper on the outside. I'll flip this over though. I want to show you, they always put the little icons here. The power plug, the SIM slot. You've got your volume down, volume up, and your power button there. So I'll pull this paper off. I like this black model, guys. It looks pretty slick. It's got, of course, the black screen on the front when it's turned off, and the whole thing is almost like a jet black. Now, the back of this is not going to be glass because the Pixel 9 is glass, the Pixel 9a is not, so it's got that matte finish, but you've got the metal frame around the outside. You see the selfie camera there, nice smooth glass, and the screen on this is almost identical to the Pixel 9, so that's got that going for it. You've got your buttons on the side there. You've got your antenna brakes around the metal frame, a microphone on the top. On the left side, there are no buttons, just a couple of antenna brakes. On the bottom, you've got your SIM card slot, your USB-C port, your speaker, and another microphone hole right there. On the back, we've got our dual cameras and our flash. The camera bump here, though, is very small compared to what we see on other smartphones, mostly because you don't get the zoom capabilities like you'd get on some of these other smartphones. But again, most people probably don't care, won't need it, and that's the audience for this. It's a $500 phone, so they know exactly who they're going after here. But I do like this matte finish. It's basically just a plastic finish on the back here, but I like the way it looks and the way it feels. All right, let's get this phone powered up and see what this thing can do. While it's booting, quick look at this. This is the Google Pixel 9a case, also in black. Also wrapped up in that protective paper. There you go, pretty simple case, kind of one of these rubber cases that just sort of pushes right onto the phone. It's got a little bit of a different finish on the inside versus the outside. I do like the finish of the outside of this case. It's almost a soft rubber feel to it. You don't have a ton of protective areas here. It's, again, just a very simple rubber case that pops right out of the phone here. You don't need a big bump for the cameras on the back like you would with a phone that has a big camera bump. So I'll set that aside. Looks like the phone is now booted up. Welcome to your Pixel. Let's set this device up. I'll skip some of these options. Of course, I do want to connect it to my Wi-Fi network, and I'll pop my Wi-Fi code in. Okay, now it's connecting to my Wi-Fi network. It says getting your phone ready. This all should look familiar to anybody who's set up a vanilla Google device, an Android device before. Looks like it does need an update. So I'm gonna run that system update and get this thing up to date before we set it up. Okay, I've got that update installed and I'm back to the getting your phone ready screen. Who are you setting this phone up for? This is to decide if you want it for a kid or for yourself. I'm gonna set this up for myself. Of course, this is where you sign in with your Google account. I will pop my credentials in here and get logged in. So once you get yourself logged in, you can kind of move on to that next step here, which is, of course, connecting to a mobile network. I'm not going to put a SIM card in here right now, so I will skip this step. You can set up a PIN. I'm going to skip this as well, just for the sake of demonstration. Do you want to copy your apps and data? I'm going to say no and move forward with this. I'll accept the agreement here. Do you want to back up your device? You should probably do this, turn this on. I'll go ahead and skip it for now, though. Here's a warranty, basically agreeing to the limited warranty of the phone. Now, I'm sure you can read through all that if you'd like. I won't. I'll just hit OK. And some more legal terms. Man, I don't remember these pages from setting up Android phones before. But here are some of the new features. Discover Google AI at its best. And this is showing you how front and center AI is going to be on this phone, which makes sense since we've got that new Tensor processor in here. And this phone is almost just as AI capable as all the Pixel 9 phones because it's got the same horsepower underneath the hood, which is kind of cool and really nice if you're trying to save money, but you still want that AI power. All right, looks like this is it. Do you want to do anything else? I'll say no for now. No, I don't need to stay up to date, but it's getting my phone ready again. We should be on the home screen in just a quick moment here. Oh, looks like it's going to walk us through the demo if we don't know how to use the Google Android gestures. I will skip that. I'm very familiar. And here we go. We are there on the home screen. The phone is officially set up and ready to go. Of course, it's got all those Google apps pre-installed, but otherwise, this is going to be your Pixel vanilla Android. Now that I've got this booted up, I do want to take a closer look at the screen. Again, this screen is basically the same as the screen on the Pixel 9. Notice the bezel, though. Pretty decent sized bezel around the outside. It's nice and even, so it does look good. It's got that hole punch for the camera there, but this is a pretty large bezel for 2025. Does this bother you? I don't know. This is a budget phone. These are the kind of things you have to sacrifice, but so many of the newer phones are almost bezel-less that it kind of surprised me to see such a large bezel on this Pixel 9a. But again, in this price range, I suppose this is what we should expect. For the sake of comparison, I want to put it side by side with a Pixel 9 Pro. You can see the difference when it comes to the bezel. The 9 Pro has a very thin bezel, whereas the Pixel 9a on the left, that bezel is much more pronounced. You'll have to decide if that's something that you're okay with.
So let me explain. I don't think budget phone is an appropriate title for the Google Pixel 9a, and here's why. Budget phone to me indicates, first of all, a price probably below $400. This is $500, so I don't think it fits into that price range. Second of all, it indicates to me a lot of specs cut back to keep the price down. In the case of the Google Pixel 9a, it's got the same exact processor, the same brains as the full-blown Google Pixel 9 and the Google Pixel 9 Pro. So if it was a budget phone, I don't think that would be the case. So I think this is a good thing. This means that for $500 for the 9a, you're actually getting a very capable Google Pixel 9. So what don't you get? The screen is slightly inferior to the Google Pixel 9. The memory is cut back a little bit. You get a few less gigs of memory. The cameras are not as good as you're going to get with the Pixel 9, and you don't get the same charging capabilities. It does have wireless charging, but it doesn't have fast wireless charging. So they cut back on some of those features that people can likely do without, but at the same time, they kept the same brains on the inside. And that's important when it comes to all the AI features that Google is pushing right now. You still get all those AI features for the most part because you've got that same Tensor processor that's so important to making a Google Pixel 9 a Google Pixel 9. So if you ask me, this is not a budget phone. If you want a budget phone, look at the Samsung A series. Look at some of the Motorola phones that are under $400. Heck, even look at some of those nothing phones that are under $400. This to me is a Google Pixel 9 minus. I know they would never use that name because it doesn't sound good, but I think it's actually a compliment to this Google Pixel 9a because I don't think it fits that 9a title. I think people should look at this as a slightly minimized but fully powerful Google Pixel 9. This, I think, is the best you can get for $500 in 2025. Okay, so what do you think? Have you used the previous Google Pixel budget models, the 8A or other models? I'd love to see your comments. I read every single one. I comment back on every single piece of feedback here on the channel, and I would love it if you subscribe to the channel because I've got a lot more cool geeky unboxings and reviews, just fun, cool tech videos here on the channel. Tech it before you wreck it. I'm Kirk.